It is a revised budget a little bit. The legislature had finalized the budget from since our last.
Okay. Well, let's call the regular board meeting to order at 6:03. And let's have roll call.
Eldon Larson.
Here.
Rhonda Robertson. Present. Andrew Bushman.
Here.
Dayton Flake.
Here.
Karsten Flake.
I'm here. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I will. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I have a volunteer for the invocation. Karsten's volunteered to give the invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee, we're grateful for the things we'll be able to discuss. We're grateful for the moisture that our land has received. Please continue to bless us with the moisture we need. We're grateful for the things that are getting done at the school like we need to, and we say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Karsten. That brings us to adoption of the agenda. I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as listed.
I'll second it.
You want to move those things? Your brother, or is it?
Okay. All right. Call for the vote. Myself, yes. Karsten?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew? Rhonda?
Yes.
Thank you. And the next one's yours.
I move that we approve the minutes from the June 14th regular board meeting as presented.
I'll second. Any discussion needed or anything? Okay, call for the vote. Karsten?
Yes.
Dayton? Yes. Andrew? Rhonda?
Yes.
And I'll abstain since I wasn't here. And that brings us to Mr. Fields, Superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for your attendance here at tonight's meeting. There's a lot of important items that we have to approve. Some dealing with the budget and other items dealing with personnel. So and we have a lot of personnel in July, the start of it. So since we have so many items to get through, I'll try and keep my report short and answer any questions that you might have. Specific to an agenda item, we can wait to talk about it there. But as far as my report, there's a financial summary I've attached there, and then also for your reference, a high school and junior high schedule. Now, this is something that is subject to change. So I wouldn't say it's confidential because it has gone out to staff, but you know, sometimes the students or parents start planning before registration. They can be brokenhearted when they find out, oh, this has changed, and they want to know why that's changed. Why is this up against that? And there's always a reason that we try to accommodate the most students that we can with classes and stuff. So if you see the schedule, that's what it looks like. That's who's teaching what and when, and the schedule for the day. So that's attached to my report. Another item I definitely wanted to bring to your attention, now it's not part of my written report because I didn't have this information at that time, but it is the county elections for governing board. So this governing board will have 2 openings in November, correct? I believe that's Rhonda's seat and Dayton's seat. And it looks like the deadline might have been yesterday for the to submit the petition with the 5 signatures or whatever to run. And so I looked, and we didn't have anyone sign up for the Joe City Board. However, I got a note here from the county superintendent that says if somebody would like to be a write-in candidate, they still can be. There's a deadline of July 25th for somebody to be a write-in candidate. And if we only have two write-in candidates, they even canceled the election. It saves them a little bit of money on paper and printing.
We still have to pay though. We just don't pay as much.
For the election.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's why Jalen's always, or the county superintendent's always telling me, they'll cancel it, some kind of savings that they get. But so I have the form. If anyone wants to take it, I have it saved too, so I can reprint this out. But this is what, if you know someone that might be interested to run for the governing board, maybe they've got beef with the school or whatever, you can give them this. And then if they submit this prior to July 25th, they might not even have to get elected. They might just get appointed. So that's the thing. And I can print out another one, but.
Could they put that like on Facebook or on the website or something like that?
I don't know. Is it legal to do it?
To say there's an opening, you're not encouraging anybody to do anything, you're just saying there's an opening.
Yeah, but I think we probably could just say there's an opening because it's soliciting service help. We're not asking for. Yeah, I could check with an attorney if you want me to.
No.
Just because it blows my mind how many people really don't even know what's going on. It's as far as elections and stuff.
We'll get that
As
out.
a country, nobody knows anything.
You're right. We need to communicate that out, I think, a little bit. So I like that idea of advertising. So we'll get that done. Thank you for that. If anybody wants to take a copy of this form, it's here. But yeah, so we don't currently. The office won't start for these candidates until like January 1st of the new year. So, okay. There's some other items I did want to mention that I could mention or talk about from our construction project. The maintenance and custodial team has been working really hard. Mr. Mosry has been commented today to me how impressed he was too, so I appreciate that. They sometimes they don't get thanked a whole lot, but it seems like they're working hard. They cleaned our offices last week, and they got every speck of dust from mine. I don't know about you guys too, but hopefully. Football camps, things like that. Oh, we finished our summer camp, and I actually came prepared to talk about some of the games with those programs. I think the kids overall had fun. I'd like to see the survey results. I haven't seen those yet, but I think the principals might have. But we should get a copy because that could be insightful for us. We've turned all that stuff into the state, but it looks like we need to make sure we're reviewing it too. It seems from looking at the data that the most growth came from our elementary kids, and that's probably indicative of them wanting to be here a little bit more, maybe a little high school, maybe a little more effort. I have all their scores here to talk about. Some pretty good growth down at the elementary. They did a lot of fun projects. Would you mind mentioning just a few of the fun trips and things they did?
Sure, they started off going to Arizona, and a lot of their activities were geared around that. It was a lot of fun. They grew worms, or they studied worms. Went to some nurseries, got flowers, planted them out in front of our place. A lot of cooking happened. I believe there was a bake sale. I wasn't here at the time.
Yeah.
Thank you for participating with that. They took their earnings and bought ice cream. Capitalism at its best. A lot of reading happened. It was a good feel. Things was good.
I don't know if you guys saw, they made the front page of the paper last week.
Last
the
week.
planting, planters, and all that, flowers.
The biggest picture of the year.
So I do on the side, if you're interested, I do a little vermicomposting with worms and things, vermiculture or whatever, and they ask you to come in and give a little lesson to the second grade, third grade. So I did.
We also
Great.
used the Oculus glasses.
Oh, that's right.
Went up in space, went under the water. That's a good time. I can't wait to do it again.
Awesome. That's good use. I saw an article in a magazine recently. They have a big conference in Chicago they're teaching educators how to implement that into their curriculum. It's the next thing.
I should go to that.
Yeah, I don't know if we can go. You already did it. You should be a presenter there. They should pay us to have you go. No. Yeah, whatever. If you see something that looks good, I'm sure they'll have a lot of ideas there, but there might be one closer.
Did we get that on our school page too?
What about the fun stuff we did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Mosier
Pictures
put
with that?
some announcements and highlights at different points, pictures. High school too, they did fun things. Okay, but moving along here. Like I mentioned briefly a minute ago, that the football camps are coming. These are big. It gives us some funding, but it really puts a lot of students on our campus, as many as we have during the school year. But so far, we've been able to manage it. The coaches that we work with, they seem to manage it well. So it's a chance to raise some money from outside the community.
Is it Queen Creek and Mountain View, I heard?
The Mountain View or
Yes.
West?
Mountain View.
Mountain View. Thank you. Mrs. Strong has been working on your AIA passes. They should be in shortly. We'll let them know when they're in. A few of those things that Brad's been working on are bus parking lot repairs. And we did receive our new route bus. Flooring throughout the campus, but specifically the custodial office and the elementary, that floor has been damaged for a long time. I think it keeps getting put off because it's like a closet or a back office. But he jumped on that and got it done before I knew it. I walked through there, I was like, wow, it looks great. I know the custodians were real happy to see that. And baseball flagpole, I guess there was a problem with that, but they used extra concrete they had left over to fix that. It kept blowing over or something. Some painting, various painting jobs. They have a big order of sand coming to the elementary this year for the playground because it's wearing thin at some spots. You're supposed to have a minimum. So Brad and Mr. Mosier are working on that. Registration is coming up. Another big thing that I have a bullet on is the point of sale system that we're implementing. These things, it's going to be good once it's implemented, but it takes some training and time away from employees. But we have to get it done. We've been working on this. The system is going to improve some things, make things more efficient. So looking forward to that. That training's on the 28th and 29th of this month. The principals, the secretaries, anybody who handles cash. So this would be like even like auditorium when they handle cash, the offices, the games, things. There has been some talk about even not accepting cash anymore. I don't know if the board has opinions on that you want to share. If you think about that, that was a request that at one point came from our AD. I think that's the direction he would still like to go, just because it makes it easier. He mentioned that to you as well. Okay. Some schools have done that, but I'm not sure we want to go that far yet, so we haven't damped off on that just quite yet.
My personal feelings are no way, no how.
Some people, they prefer to still handle the cash. Yeah. If we did it, we definitely would let people know in advance. We got to really have a campaign to educate them because we don't want people to get stuck.
You're going to have problems with people that don't have bank cards.
Really.
Yeah,
Especially out on the reservation.
exactly.
It's just not as,
To think about that. There shouldn't be a problem to still handle. This system can calculate the cash in with everything, but okay, we'll keep those things in mind and when we have a conversation.
And then when we can have a private conversation, I'll tell you the rest of my thoughts.
Okay, no problem.
La.
So, yeah, I'll keep those things in mind and we'll keep you updated before a final decision, something like that. Or we'll even make it an agenda item if you guys want. We're excited to get this system going. It coordinates and lines up with our vision. He did a lot of research into this to make sure we weren't just throwing a program that wasn't compatible. So, anything to add on that, Steve?
Well, it does also handles online transactions too.
So all of the funds for the school will basically go through
Will
that.
intake through that system, correct?
Whether it's cash or card,
Right.
but it can
Online
take
or
cash.
in person, either way. Yeah. Oh,
So
sure.
there should be no problem with it.
They can even like pick their seats at the auditorium. You have that.
Well, that's a add-on kind of a system, but yeah, but essentially everything would come in through this. So, yeah.
Cool.
This has been a long time coming. We've been trying to get this going for a long time. I'm a lot of work, but I'm glad that we're getting close.
Thank you for that. And just a little footnote on technology. We've increased in a lot of the things we're doing here. We got Chromebooks, additional Chromebooks ordered. We're like 2 to 1 with devices to students. And we are doing a program where we can send devices home that are supposed to be used at home, especially if they don't have Wi-Fi in this hotspot. But everybody gets it, even if they don't, if they do have Wi-Fi as well, right?
Right. There's and this was all paid, 100% paid for by a grant, by the way. Every student, I believe it's 3rd grade and up, will have one checked out to them, and they keep it at home basically. And then if they have
on it,
we're not going to force anybody. And then if they don't have,
My house.
if they don't, and by the way, those go through our school filter, so it works just like they were sitting here,
and they check them out with a number assigned to the PC or stamped in it or something.
Yeah.
So they
Eventually
can't.
they return it.
Yeah, it's like checking out a textbook or a library bucket that we scan it, and then there's a little agreement that they sign, and then if they have need for broadband access at home, because that was part of the grant, then we can also check out a hotspot for that household.
So if they don't want to take one, they should. But
Yeah, and
the thought was it would help people.
right, and then the broadband thing is you know, the situations that we kind of envision, that we don't have enough hotspots for everybody, you know, right? Because not everybody needs one. That's going to take a Chromebook, but what we kind of envisioned is either they don't have internet at home, or parents got it on their phone, but they don't really, have a computer, and so they would be able to use the hotspot. Or if it's a large family and you have 5 kids or 4 kids or whatever at home at once trying to do homework and stream a video or something, and you just don't have enough capacity, then those people could also.
When we had the COVID, that was a
It
problem
was a big deal.
because
yeah.
there were so many people in a house, and there wasn't enough Wi-Fi for everybody.
Mm. Yeah.
And there's a new strand of COVID coming, so who knows what's going to happen. But hopefully it's not a serious strand.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. To qualify to get one of these, they have to get some training and sign off on a few things, and we're going to try to do this at our open house, which will be August 2nd at 6 p.m. at both campuses. So, like, parents can stop by. One of the labs will have designated with Jason or whoever in there, and they'll take them through a quick 10-minute thing and get their device there.
The other thing that we're doing too is I'm not sure that I don't think this is all ready to go yet, but Jason is setting up a help desk, if you will, where there'll be a unique web. You can go to a website and you can enter a trouble ticket. I can't get logged onto the internet. My Chromebook isn't working or whatever. And then the goal is, within 24 hours to respond to that. Our assumption is that most of those are going to come in at nights and on the weekends, because that's when kids are home using them. And we wouldn't necessarily have staff here, so that's why we're doing it online. And then depending on the amount of traffic, we may be training a student worker, to triage, all those requests for help and try and help them if they can, and if they can't, then they would elevate it to someone in the technology department. So, that's the plan.
Okay, sounds great. And it, kick off on August 2nd. It's good.
A lot of times they have the swimming pool open for kids to swim, and in the past we've also had food and stuff like that. What is this one entail?
That didn't come up in our discussions, so I don't know. I can check. I'd like to check with the high school staff administration before I commit, say yes or no, actually. But yeah, if you think if it attracts people, that's the day before students start. So I thought we were going to have a good attendance there. So yeah, we can make it a party if principal's up to it.
So I'm just asking because we've done similar things in the past. I was just curious what this one was.
I'm always afraid we open the pool, people might go there and not go, because they're in their swim trunks, something like that.
Well, what I've seen in the past, it gives the kids something to do so parents can talk with people and whatever instead of, I should leave it at that. I was going to make another comment, but.
Yeah, I'll check into it for you. Yeah, maybe I could provide an update to you on that prior to August 2nd, in case you guys want to attend or spread the word. Okay, so I'll leave it at that unless you have any questions or you want me to elaborate on anything.
Any questions? Any questions? All right. Thanks, Mr. Fields. That takes us to call to the public, which doesn't look like we have any. So that's going to bring us to consent agenda. I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items as listed.
I'll second it.
Karsten?
Yes. Any discussion needed on any of those?
Does Julie get a stipend for having a strong evaluation? Just kidding.
I think that's the evaluation. Very good, Andrew.
It's James Strong from Virginia. It's actually who's named after.
No relation, right?
All
right. Let's go to the vote. Dayton? Yes. Andrew?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Karsten?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
And that was
5. All the consent.
all the
All
way
of
down to
5.
6? All of 5?
Yes. Okay, that's correct. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve employee assignments, employee renewals, volunteers, and employee resignations as listed.
6A.
6A.
I'll second it.
Any discussion needed there?
I thought Dan Bushman was already the CTE director as part of a different contract when he took that counseling position.
I don't think so, but let me think about that for a second. So he should have a contract that's just for his counseling, and this is kind of it's a connected position, but not necessarily. I guess it could be someone else. So I don't know if it's a separate contract, but I presume that it is.
You know, I don't want to say because I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because I thought they took the counselor and added 2 or 3 or something things to it so that it could just be one contract instead of multiple ones.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm right about this,
I'd
but
have to look that up to see. Whatever we're doing this year is exactly the same as we did last year or the year before. But I can't recall if it's a.
So let's look at that.
We combined a lot of things in Dan's position, because previously to Dan, there was like 5 stipends with the counselor. And so those things did get wrapped up, but I don't think this one did. That's the type of question, if you could think of it in advance, I could have you an answer by our meeting.
But that would be, you know, if that's correct, that's a good catch, because typically if there's no contract associated with that assignment, it wouldn't show up here. There's nothing for you to approve, so.
I think let's look at
It's
that.
no harm done if it's, you know, there's no stipend associated with it, but like I said, I want to say without researching it first.
And then I have another question. Does this give us all of our fall coaching, all of them taken care of?
Probably not. Whatever, only the ones that they have assigned up to that point, or hired up to, or recommended up to that point.
We're close.
I am under the understanding that the 7th grade softball coach and 8th grade softball coach, that's not exactly how it was presented to Miss Beatty.
Oh,
Why would she want to coach and miss her daughter playing on 8th grade?
yeah, that's new.
I don't know, we put them in
That's
how
what-
they're
when I questioned it to her, she told me that was not how it was told to her, so.
That's a question for the
Do
activities.
you know offhand, are those the same date for 7th and 8th?
I
Um,
believe they are.
I don't know
So
offhand.
what we could
Yeah,
do
what-
is modify this item to just say,
Junior.
so this gets approved tonight, it doesn't cause a delay.
Mhm.
Just junior high softball coach for both of them, and then let us get that corrected, and we'll notify you which one is where.
Okay, so we need to change that there's no
Differentiate.
grade next to Miss Spurlock and Miss Beatty.
So we need to modify
And I
that.
can verify that with
Mary
her.
coached 7th grade last year.
And then I noticed on the, and I didn't talk specifically to her about it, but I noticed Miss Edwards is 8th grade and Miss Beatty is 7th grade volleyball coach.
Same problem.
Yeah, her daughter's an 8th grader.
Let us look into that, if we could just modify.
So can we
that.
modify that as well?
So whoever made that motion, if they would just, change their motion,
Eldon?
to reflect that.
We'll change it, and
I just said as listed, so.
yeah, and we can make that change to the backup, with your permission, and.
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, Eldon first it and I second it, and I'm good with making that, change.
Okay.
We both are.
How many people short are we now, or do we have all our positions filled?
There's a junior high assistant football coach.
Teaching, I mean, for the important stuff, we go to school.
Yes, we're good. I mean, not that softball and all that's not important, I understand. It's, especially to some people, but no, yeah, our teaching assignments and instructional assignments are filled.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure where to go with this, because I don't think that a couple of these are right.
See, that's what I'm wondering too.
So, for example, you have Brad Fisher as the high school football assistant. And I just talked to the head coach yesterday, and he didn't say anything about that. Does he know?
No, this has to be a miscommunication.
Did our last
We don't have a
one
JV coach. He made, I don't know if he's a high school football, like, volunteer assistant, is that who?
I don't know, whatever Danny.
This
Danny
was
sent
typed
us,
from
we-
a list that Mr.
Yeah.
Hutchins provided.
That's right. Well, I'm thinking that so we don't have do we have a paid assistant football coach?
Got a medical thing.
I gotta understand, hang on. Give me 1 second.
I want my son to do it. It's just Caleb. Well, Caleb can't be the junior. And then his dad's gonna be junior high. Just there's boys have all been told that. Who's the Daryl? I'm sorry. Who's the elementary? Toronto.
Yeah.
Wasn't he going to do junior high football? that's what the boys.
That on the last one though?
Is that a volunteer?
I don't think he was wrong.
Oh, I don't think it's volunteer either.
He was on the list. Let's see.
Was that last?
It might have been last, if you'll look at the minutes.
Yeah.
But I thought we did.
Okay.
You're right, I remember that one. Okay, so I think that was another good
See?
check. This one with the assistant football coach, I think, Mr. Larson's correct. He just talks to the head coach. My recommendation, and I apologize, I'll take we actually worked on this and went through it
Yeah.
times and everything, but, that we remove that one. I recommend that we remove the high school football assistant. Because when I spoke with the principal just a few days ago, we didn't have a JV football coach. So you either have, I think, an assistant or a JV. You don't have.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, my concern now is how much other stuff that we don't know about is right and wrong. That's just, things that we happen to,
No.
But you could teach us the lesson here. Give me a lesson, and we could table this. And the only other thing is we might have to have an additional meeting.
I'd rather have a meeting than a wrong.
Date. Okay.
Another option would be to bring back any corrections at the next meeting.
let's do it that way.
We've done that before.
Yeah, I mean,
Anything in the fall, though, by the next meeting is already going.
Started.
That's the thing, they're gonna be started
yes,
before the.
but we have
August
also given them the power to hire
meeting.
people
That's true.
and us
That's
come
true.
back and approve it. So why is this any different?
Not a JV coach. At
Yeah.
least from
Well,
my understanding.
when we voted on that and
Yeah.
we signed that, it did not say except JV coaches.
Well, I understand, but I thought it was only temporary positions. is what
Anyone
we
who's not on this
approved.
list, how we would do that is they wouldn't be finally hired. It's pending board approval.
Right.
Let's say we have this Mr. Jones or Smith that wants to do JV football. Eric may authorize him to go out there and help with the start of the season, but his hire would be pending board approval. So
Right.
he wouldn't officially.
And we've done that kind of thing before.
Yeah,
We'd be doing it for free until we
basically.
save money.
Well, no, because
When I double checked with Eric, there was not a JV football coach.
But
Prior to
he shouldn't
typing.
have had an assistant. He's listed as a high school assistant.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what that means. I thought it was maybe varsity.
We got.
I typed it as it was given to me.
Yeah, I'm just, from time to time, not this many, but there'll be a mistake on this, and we come back at the next meeting and make that adjustment at the next board meeting, and if that person, like you say, or your policy allows for us to get somebody started and working and pending approval at the next board meeting, so that would be the simplest way to take care of it.
I just would ask that this be gone back over and then
Sure.
us do that where you do, that's my personal
Yeah.
thought.
You're right. And I had heard Julie Strong caught already 2 or 3 mistakes off this list and got ahold of Mr. Hutchins or whoever and got it fixed. That's what I was told. So I'm frustrated with this, but we'll get it right and update it for you at the next meeting if you'll approve it as is with that 1/7 8th grade change.
And I think we've approved some of these before.
Great.
I'm pretty sure.
Double paycheck.
No, it wouldn't be double paycheck.
No, I mean,
I don't know.
Teasing.
it's not like we haven't.
If you double approve them, it doesn't hurt anything.
No,
Right.
it doesn't.
We have approved people twice.
And really, could you approve who's there as, nobody's on here that's not already approved to work with children.
That's right, on this list, that's right.
And so it's just a matter of where their position is before they're going in. So I don't see anybody on here that would say,
That's true.
Which in turn, like Mr. Mills said, they can check it, make any corrections, bring it to us at the next meeting as a correction, and we can okay it.
Yeah, 'cause everybody on
But
here,
I would ask that this whole list is gone back over and verified. Because obviously, we've caught some stuff and I've been at 4-H camp. How am I supposed to know all this stuff? You know?
Yeah, I apologize.
You didn't talk
It's
about this?
frustrating. I'm upset about it, so we'll try and get this right.
I'm sick of pig butts. Do you want me to tell them that? and beef butts.
Confusion comes because in July, we try and do it all, but sometimes they like to let the coaches know that they have the assignment that they've been approved prior to July, so some will get on prior to July.
Another question I have, I'm not seeing it right now, and this is just hearsay. I'm not saying I'm right. The high school volleyball coach,
It's right there.
but
The head coach.
I understood she wasn't coming back, so just a question.
Well, I know you're missing at least one volunteer. Even though there's none on there. Me.
Okay.
yeah, we'll have to vote on that one.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to think hard on that one.
Well, you can always say no, that'll make Carol happy.
Gonna have to do
One happy
some
woman,
heavy deciphering. Okay, so, shall we vote on this and let them make
Let
any
them make the
changes and we'll
I
revote?
agree. Think I'm on Andrew. Andrew. Anna,
Yes,
myself, yes. Carson,
Yes.
Dayton. Yes. Thank you. That brings us to 6B, personnel appointments. I don't know what that.
are you
Difference is-
making a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the personnel appointments as listed.
I'll second it.
These are new employees, unlike, what Mr. Bushman said a minute ago. They haven't been working in our system.
Well, some
In
of them
that
have,
position.
they're new to that, either new employees or new to that position.
What's our drama coach?
Does like play?
Poppy?
No. It's Jason
Oh,
West.
it's Jason.
That's why I'm.
He's the one that did that last little.
The elementary.
Whatever program.
Frozen.
So is this for the high school or for the elementary or high school?
So there'll be 3 teachers in the auditorium?
No, this is an extracurricular deal here, this drama coach.
So who's gonna, so what does he get paid?
He gets a coach's stipend. That's what we did with
A varsity? or
Yes. Yes.
To do one play? I'm asking, I'm not trying to interrogate whatever, but.
We went the rounds with Andy. Yes.
And then
Agree, but
is our new,
we had one person that we were dealing with, and he was spread over a lot of things. And I think that's Karsten's question here. We're used to having one person do all of this, and now we're splitting it up to different people. Am I correct, Karsten?
yes, so that's what I'm asking.
It's kind of confusing
That
for
new
us.
teacher, our Poppy, I think is her name, she's going to do a play also? Is this just the community play and she's still doing a high school play?
No. So, and it's a kind of a different skill set. Just because you're teaching, let's say, choir, doesn't mean that you necessarily are gonna have the interest or the talent or time or whatever
Run
to
a play.
do,
Oh, I understand that. I was just trying to figure out.
the reasoning.
Yeah.
So,
Different personnel, different talents, different locations, I think.
I was just curious, are we dividing?
Well, I'm with Karsten. I want to know where the lines are for these people, because I'm used to having one person doing it. So where are the lines?
Mr. Wetton, if approved, will do the
All plays?
play, yeah.
The musical, I think. is what it is.
So that's what this.
Okay, then who's gonna do the Christmas thing? The Christmas bus thing, or are we not gonna get to have that?
The band and music teacher.
So Danny's in charge of band, the new teacher's in charge of choir.
But that busing may or may not happen with the new guy.
The
That's a
budget
fundraiser.
last fundraiser.
Huh?
That's a fundraiser.
Yeah,
Polar Express.
Yeah,
That was just a fundraiser.
but we're
but
not,
it's something that the community has
Yes.
started expecting.
I agree.
but they're not tying new employees on to doing exactly what the old people did, are we?
The musical, I guess that's about it.
And am I wrong, but didn't Andy also see about getting other people coming and using our auditorium? Which we made some money from that. Who's gonna be doing that? Anyone?
We made some and lost some. And it was Eric, as well. He was just
So who's gonna step up and help Eric?
to get, people coming and stuff.
I think Mr. Mills would be really good at that.
That's a city art?
You know, I'm trying to recall, someone just talked to me about a group that we were gonna be bringing in, but, wasn't you? Might have been Mr. Miller. But no, I don't think that's gonna die. I think that's, something we are still doing.
I would hope. I feel like our community and our school have been doing really good as far as,
You know, we don't expect anything right now.
and the bottom line is, the kids participating in this, to me, are just, them participating is just as important as the sports.
For them, it's more important.
Well, I didn't want to say it that way, but
I'm with you. I don't expect a letdown. I've talked to Mr. Miller about that. Mr. Miller was just as or more instrumental in bringing those people. Mr. Forey had some connections. Like, he knew some of the folks that came. But
I'm just concerned also that Mr. Miller gets overloaded.
I'm assuming, and maybe this isn't the right place to ask it, both of these people gonna be using the auditorium for performances. Do they both like this idea? 'Cause if that's an issue, it could be a hard thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Cause they're sharing,
well, it's different between the play and choirs. Setups are totally different. For one. For two, they practice the play in the evening, not during school hours.
Right. They have it set up, you know, some will be in the green room. If we go back to that schedule, if you guys want to do that, you know, who would be a band room, a green room, and all that.
So that is set up where there's not conflicts.
Yeah.
I think our administration
Schedule things.
can deal with that, and if not, then.
Good luck.
Ooh, if not, y'all are in trouble.
Right. Not, we'll go to the next step. No, I'm just kidding. That's my opinion on it. Yeah, no matter what you do, you bring somebody in, it changes the dynamics of everything, and you have to regroup. Hopefully in a positive, but if not, after a couple bumps and bruises, you'll get it fixed.
So there will be a school play and that's what this position.
Well, you know
is
what,
a school
Andrew?
play.
There's never a question if we change football coaches that we're still gonna have football games. So I don't think I'm asking too much.
If I was a coach, you wouldn't have football games.
So is that right? This stipend appointment is for one high school play.
Musical.
Yes.
Okay. And it's a JV or varsity coach?
Varsity coach.
And we had that discussion last year.
A couple of years ago.
Yes.
I think we did it again last year.
I'll give you a heads up before we come in with the assistant drama coach.
For the JV drama coach.
Just kidding. Had the discussion, but it hasn't been recommended. Because it is a lot of work if you didn't know. Choreography and the singing and all that.
There's no trouble. Let's vote.
Okay, where are we at?
Me?
You?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Karsten?
Yes.
Dayton? Yes. Andrew? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to action items. 7A, approve the Joseph City Schools FY 22-23 budget. I'll make a motion that we approve the Joseph City Schools FY 22-23 budget.
Let's approve a budget that they already changed.
What'd you say?
We're approving the change on the change on the change.
Okay.
Does this
Not right
include the
now.
newest, latest numbers? or those
It
you-
does, and typically, by law, we're not allowed to make a change from the proposed to the adopted budget. So usually, by the time we get to this point, it's a matter of form, to adopt it. But, because the legislature didn't approve the new Arizona state budget, including that for schools, until after most schools had already proposed their budgets, they included language in the legislation for the 1 year only for this year to make that change and incorporate those additional funds in the adopted budget. So this is different from the proposed budget. And what's changed is, and this is in the rationale in the board backup, there's a $238,605 increase in maintenance and operations, $28,483 increase in district additional assistance. So that's been included in this budget. And I guess while we're on that topic, I might add also that typically you wouldn't go back and once you've issued teacher contracts, you wouldn't change those. But in this case, because this is funding that was, we're allowed to now utilize this funding. Later on, the next item, I think, in the budget is we are proposing to use, not all of it, but most of this increase for salaries, which means going back and reissuing teacher contracts.
If they don't want to sign a new one, they can keep the old pay.
Pardon?
If they don't want to sign a new contract, they can keep the old pay.
They could. So, any questions?
So the adopted budget has the new numbers, the proposed one is what it looked like last.
Right,
time.
right,
Backup.
yeah.
My only concern, and I may be totally misunderstanding, we're adding money to, and that's what we're talking about, is adding money to the teacher's base pay, correct?
In the next
We're not
agenda
there yet.
item, but yeah, right here, what the increase is, that they're giving is going into the base level for the budget calculation, and so what that means is it's not one-time funding. Once it's there, and it stays.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
know.
That was
Right.
one of my questions. We can't not give them something we have to take back.
Exactly.
Right.
That was my concern.
That's right.
Okay.
Good question. Great answer. Glad that they've made it permanent.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
You.
Okay, myself, yes. Karsten, Dayton, Andrew,
Yes.
and Rhonda.
Yes.
All right. Now this one is there that we're talking about here.
Well, why have I got this?
That was for, what is that? Oh, that was in the, no, the one right after that,
Does this make it? Oh.
where we vote on a whole bunch of 5A
Oh.
through 5 whatever. That was the very last one in 5.
Doubled up and
That's the very last
We'll
one.
just forget about those two.
my packet's got me confused.
Consent agenda, there we go. It
There
was
we
in the
go.
consent.
Okay.
And I already actually signed this one.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, yeah. Okay, back to this. 7B, I'll make a motion that we approve the pay rate adjustments and salary schedule changes for certified and classified staff.
I'll second it.
Okay. Karsten?
I don't know if you want me to try and walk you through this, or you just want to start asking questions, or however you'd like to.
I have a question.
All right, we'll start with that.
Because when you bump up, whatever you want to call them, the people at the bottom of the rung, are we bumping everybody else up? Are we fixing that problem?
Oh,
Compression.
for the most part, we are, yes. There's a couple of positions in here that we're recommending a reclassification, but just two positions, which is,
Just one.
And,
yeah,
and I noticed when I was looking through here that like the beginning level positions, we weren't touching those.
there's the level 1, level 2 positions are based on minimum wage. So those will go up January 1 when the minimum wage goes up,
We didn't touch them now.
but we didn't touch them now.
But, yeah, because they're gonna get hit when he said January 1,
So we're allowing for that.
Yeah,
and it's mostly like student workers and stuff.
Because if we did it now, then we'd have to bump it up again, correct?
probably.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know what that amount's gonna be yet.
Right, okay. But then I saw somewhere else, I didn't mark it, sorry. Because I really looked at this stuff earlier today.
We have time now, we can go through it, so. We tried to look at all the compression. Steve particularly went through this, and, yeah, tried to take care of anybody who looks
I
like
guess
they were
that's
getting
good.
by a lower entry-level position. Like, for example, maintenance tech, even though we don't have a maintenance tech 2 position at this point, we need to get an applicant place we're looking for. We're changing it from level 11 to level 13, which will be more than $1 per hour. It'd be like $1.50 or $2, you know, I could look and tell you. So, and there was reasons for that. Substitute teachers also, 11 to 13. So from a base of $16.50, $17.50, all the way to $19.50. So a $2 raise an hour instead of a $1 raise an hour for that particular maintenance tech 2 position, which we don't have any of.
But the project coordinator goes from 11 to 10?
That's a good observation. Steve, you take that one.
Okay.
You keep. And then after that, when you want all those project coordinators,
No, you're
explain
right.
that.
That's
And
right.
the one right below, yeah, I think that was where my questions were.
Grant driven, and we,
Yeah, there are several positions. Project coordinator is one of them, and another, and those are kind of, like Brian said, are grant driven, and we don't have people necessarily permanently in those positions that need to get a bump, and so we looked at that and said, well, it's fine for that to stay at the old rate of pay. So when we move,
Well, you're just keeping those the same.
that's exactly
Because you're lifting every that up, so you're just dropping that
exactly.
$10 is still $10.
Yes, and that same thing with seasonal workers. We felt like those entry-level seasonal workers could probably still be fine at where they're at. And so even though it's a decrease in the level, it's going to stay the same amount of pay.
What's minimum wage currently?
It's $12.80 an hour. And
They're projecting next year to be $13.85.
yeah, it'll probably go up more than $1 an hour actually in January. So that $1 an hour seems like a lot, but it won't seem as much when we get the minimum wage.
A lot on payday to me. Just write a check.
And this spans all of the increase, right?
No, it spends,
there was some for equipment and supplies and.
right.
facilities.
It'll cost about $100,000 out of that $238,000 increase.
All right. Some of it might be fuel.
A lot of it.
Good point.
But this is the biggest chunk of it, 2/3 of it, more than 2/3, 3/4.
And a lot of staff, they weren't expecting this raise. The governing board had given them 2% earlier this spring, so this is unexpected, pleasant surprise.
And I would like to point out that before it was put on the agenda, there was a place for the money to come from. I am so very proud of y'all. It's all I've asked for.
Thank you. Thank you, now.
I just had to twist it a little bit.
Go ahead. I'll still give money away.
Any other questions? Okay. Carson?
Karsten.
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Self, yes.
Thank you, governing board, for that, on behalf of the employees.
No, thank you all for doing what you needed to do to let us be able to approve it.
Find the money so Rhonda can approve it.
That's all I will ask for.
Okay, let's go to 7C. I'll make a motion that we approve the Joe City Senior High School book.
You can pull that one up.
I just want to see the changes.
Okay, well, I can,
Yeah, 'cause that was my,
so basically, no substantive changes. I can tell you verbally and take you through these, and we can pull up exactly where they're at in the handbook. I put in here, you can back up, we define long-term suspension. Where previously said long-term suspension, there's a note that says it's 4 days or things like that. We're using the term prohibited substances now instead of illicit. It's, semantics, but there is a difference. And vaping, there's more emphasis on vaping being used in the wording. So that's included in all this. But basically, those are the changes. So we had talked about, like, for example, tobacco was less of a punishment than vaping. And that was by design. And I had a lengthy conversation with Mr. Miller about this. So I'll try to explain it. But vaping appears to be a bigger concern right now. It could be more serious because it can include drugs and things of that nature. Tobacco, kids can become addicted, but he likes the flexibility of having that start at a minimum of 2 days.
Do you have a page number on that?
if I understand the biggest problem with vaping is you really don't know what they're vaping.
Right.
I mean,
Right in the-
cigarette, you're pretty safe that it's
Tobacco.
cigarette, tobacco. Vaping could be marijuana or whatever.
Unless,
And it would be tobacco.
Roll your own, then that's a whole nother.
roll your own, it's anybody's guess.
But then it's not.
Unless you got a nose like mine, then I can tell you.
Right into that, the bottom end of this chart. So when he hits to this, I'll explain it. You have a range
You're making
on the
me
chart. Yeah, that's it. So the range, pushing, selling, giving prescribed drugs, alcohol, or drugs for paraphernalia could be a short term to an expulsion and a first offense, depending, like if the student had like progressive discipline, if they had several other things, they might be expelled. They've had violence or something like that. If it's repeated, it has to be an expulsion. Okay. So you guys can follow along on that out. So it reads this way. So if you're doing this thing, party to or possession of alcohol and drugs or paraphernalia, it's 9-day suspension for minimum or a long-term suspension, which a long-term could be up to a year or I guess longer, technically. So that's how you read it laterally like that. E-cigarettes and vaping, the 4 days, that was strategic.
Did that get changed? Did that used to be the long-term or 9-day suspension?
Yeah, I don't know if that one was technically in last year's actually. So that might be the addition that we've been talking about. It's pulled out. Now they could be vaping marijuana, which would then put it to a higher.
A double offense.
Yeah.
It'd be vaping and illegal substance, not just prohibited, illegal.
Who's the burden of proof of what's in the vape?
Eric, you have to put
The student or the administration?
Okay, here's how this works, and that's a fair enough question. We're not a court of law, so the principal can act based on his reasonable suspicion, and that's basically it. So if he has evidence and he believes he has some kind of justification, and he believes that it was marijuana or drugs on a person, he can act well within his rights of taking discipline. That's the basic. It's not like innocent until proven guilty like you are in a court of law. It's not quite like that. In school discipline, a principal can take action based on his belief, his reasonable suspicion, if it's supported by evidence.
And then what happens, because I'm trying to protect our principal, I want that out from the very, very beginning. I'm looking to protect our principal.
Okay.
What happens if later it comes back that someone else can prove that it wasn't, and so they try to whatever, then is our principal in trouble?
It's not a court of law, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, but fair enough. Let's see if I can, I'll answer that by kind of changing the question a little bit. So there's a procedure to go through that's appealable. So they can appeal this. During the appeal, it goes to a hearing officer or me or the governing board, however we set this up. Like at one time, we had a governing board that wanted to be the judge of this. If it's a hearing officer, we either hire an attorney to come in and they don't know anything at advance, and then they do this. And this is forgive me, but I believe it's anything over 10 days. We do a hearing if they file for appeal or whatever.
So I would just hate to draw something out because they can't.
So typically a principal won't act unless he has some backup. And, it's confidential until that hearing, and during the hearing it's confidential. But his evidence comes out, a list of everything he did that he documented, and then the parent or the advocate for the kid and the kid would come in and kind of present, hey, I didn't do it, and this is why, or whatever. And then the judge, would maybe me or hearing officer or whatever.
And I know this is a different subject, but it's related to, do we have an elementary one?
They follow this one.
Okay, so this is high school and elementary. Do you know of
Do I know of what?
do we have vaping problems at the elementary?
No.
Okay. I was just
I
curious
wouldn't
what
say
we have
no,
there.
I would say not that I'm aware of. I'm serious.
There's not been
I didn't want to
discipline.
say not yet,
Huh?
There hasn't been a discipline for it.
but I follow this.
Okay, I was just curious where that,
The vaping wasn't on there last year. I don't think it's brand new, isn't it?
Yeah. So they
It
can't
was
go
under
back.
controlled stuff.
Yeah, I think it was locked in with that, or looped in with that. Students still have due process, but it's not like a court of law, I guess would be my short answer.
I would just hate to hang our principal out with all this other stuff and everything past it and whatever.
What he gets paid for.
Yeah, he doesn't, we don't hang ourselves out, and if anything, we probably, we try to be lenient. We don't like kicking kids out, that's not why we find out. We don't, but sometimes,
The fact of the matter in the school, the principal's number one thing is safety of other kids, and so principals can act to keep other kids safe. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're worried about. That's why Brian was saying it's not a innocent until proven guilty thing. It's if we got to take care of the situation, we take care of the situation and we deal with whatever we need to deal with later.
And we want parents that are sending their kids here to know we're taking everything we can, that their kids won't be offered anything.
Yes.
Exactly. Not to take the burden off of parents to teach their kids, just for the record.
Okay, we done with discussion on this one? Any other questions?
I just want to make a rude comment.
You want to make a rude comment?
Yeah, the next one on cell phones.
We're not there yet.
We're not there.
Oh,
Oh, just
sorry.
that next line, sorry. Does that apply to teachers too? There's been a couple times I walk down the halls and the teachers sitting behind their desks going like this on their phone. So, and then I've ripped my kid a couple times being careful with his phone. He's like, well, the teachers do it, why can't I?
Here's what so that's a fair enough question, and I don't think it's rude to ask. I think these things need to be discussed, and we discuss them at staff meetings. Like a few years ago, I was at a high school meeting, and some teachers asked about that. And what I told them was, we should definitely model the behavior we expect from our kids. However, we are talking about adults instead of kids, and there is a difference. You know, they've already graduated high school. I think there's a little more flexibility with the adults, but the standards should be modeled by, and that's what we tell our teachers. And I do know our principals, and we shouldn't go into details, but they have had taken some disciplinary action. That might just include a talk or a letter about teachers on their cell phones, because if it's excessive, you know, but are we going to look over their shoulder, make sure they don't have it turned on all the time? No. But it is what that is. So I don't know. That kind of explain where we.
I wasn't really looking for a thing. I was just wanting to let everybody know.
To point it out, yeah. Yeah. We should model what we expect from kids.
So this is one of the bigger complaints that I hear all the time too, since Andrew brought it up.
Yeah.
We've got to get all of our teachers to handle it the same. Because we've got teachers that let kids do whatever they want on their phone, and we got teachers that take it right now as soon as they see it, which is following policy, right? So if they ask them to turn it off and they won't turn it off, they take it. Or put it away, you know, that's their rule. So, I mean, as a coach and a person that's around a lot up there at the high school especially, like, you want to talk about kids that have a hard time with that? Well, this teacher lets me do whatever I want with my phone. That teacher takes it from me, and so I get in trouble from that teacher, but I don't with this teacher and that teacher and that teacher, and it's like, it's got to be the same.
I personally have seen a district employee, I'm trying to broaden what I'm saying so that I'm not pointing at anyone, be very abusive on their phone during class time, repeatedly. And I was never aware of anything being done about it. And the students noticed. Students, plural. The whole class.
We will definitely emphasize our disciplinary consistency this year. We'll put it on our plan. Every year we have a plan to look to make improvements where we can, and I think that's an area, the consistency. I've actually heard some other things from.
I also have heard, and this is purely rumor, but I've heard that the kids are allowed to use it to help with their phones with their schoolwork. And I mean, where do you draw that line?
Yeah, you kind of got to either.
You know, right. I mean, why should a parent, they've already bought a phone, why should they buy a calculator now? It's on there, you know. So I am saying I understand that double-edged sword that they go through.
Well, I think it's the biggest thing, teachers and adults and everything, it's a proper place and a proper time.
I know as a teacher, when cell phones started, there were times I had kids that came to me, hey, I was looking at my phone between classes, which is completely legal. I need to call my so-and-so. I think we definitely, there's reasons, like you're saying, there's reasons to look at things, and teachers are in the same boat. They're trying to take care of some things too. I mean, that teacher very likely is dealing with a student that's home sick that they're trying to keep up with. I'm not saying that all of them are, but I think we also, to some degree, got to give the benefit of the doubt too.
But, well, yes, but the other thing you got to understand right now, some of the biggest bullying that you get is right on text messages and Twitter and everything else.
Kids sitting across from each other in the same classroom, texting each other, bullying.
So you've got to worry about that too.
And we've had more than one occasion at the high school that's been the root of I mean, that's been a big part of a problem.
So I understand not wanting the kids to be able to have their cell phones in class. You don't want any of that going on, that's for darn sure.
No, you're right. This is an excellent point in the year to take care of it, because you want to establish it like the first day of school.
Well, you and I both know the teachers are the meanest the first day of school. And it goes downhill from there. It hasn't changed in the last 100 years.
Yeah. Okay. We need to work on that consistency, so there's not a drop after the first day, I think. So we'll put an emphasis on that. And those are good points. We're teaching them life skills. I mean, I could talk all night with you guys on this, but like, if you're staring at your phone and not making eye contact with your teacher, there's no way you're gonna learn quite as good. Or when you go to college, that teacher might take it wrong, or your boss might take it wrong. It's about being a good listener, and we gotta teach those kids these things now.
Agree.
So we can talk to the teachers about this. If you guys give me an opportunity, we'll put an emphasis on this.
And maybe that is a thought for the teachers to come from that point of view instead of being Till of the Hun and say, look, it's my responsibility to teach you guys, and this is part of it. This is a very real part of the real world. If you walk into McDonald's and someone is standing there looking at their phone instead of taking your order for your hamburger, you get upset. You know, and those kind of examples are good to get through to these kids.
That's what we'll focus on.
Anything else?
No.
Bring up anything else, Andrew?
Hey, Andrew, we got the money.
That's all good. Rhonda's happy?
Dayton.
Yes.
Dayton.
Okay, Dayton, yes.
Yes.
Andrew, Rhonda,
Yes.
myself,
Yes.
yes. Carson, thank you. Okay. Make a motion that we approve textbook and curriculum adoption.
I'll second.
These have already been out for the period of time they need to be
Yes.
ready to vote.
I didn't
Okay.
realize it and didn't look at them. My fault.
Any other questions? Andrew, you're first.
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
myself, yes. Carson, Dayton? Yes. Thank you.
Well, this one I got a problem with.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve reimbursement for cell phone use.
I'll second.
Is it? So we're just talking about this one. We're not talking about all the rest of them.
The other ones were approved last month, and this one was separated it's a new one that we haven't had. I was asked by a governing board member, Mr. Bushman, to look at this because this employee is on his phone a lot, not during school.
Wait, let's go back a couple screens here.
Not during school, but like at a practice or, after hours. And so I talked to the principal about this, and he agreed.
Because he's dealing with children and parents at all times.
At all times, yeah.
Yes,
In multiple capacities.
yes. Sounds like we're all good with it.
What is that number now?
55 a month, is that correct?
And we give it
55
twice a year,
no,
or
every month.
Every month.
we give it, but we literally pay them the 55 every month, or we don't split it up,
No, 55 every month.
and it just
For
added
all
to
of
their.
the
Because if he doesn't answer the phone, then the next month.
Will this retro back or start this coming school year
We'll start this coming school year.
in August or July?
I have a motion on that,
Yeah.
or did it go straight?
Yeah, it was,
I motioned it.
Elton and then Eldon and then Elton and then Dalton.
Okay.
One of the reasons is this employee usually during school hours can be contacted at his office. I mean, he's not as mobile as the principal may be, or an AD, going from one building to another or whatever.
This is for the after hours.
Yeah, that's what I would focus on.
Well, if his job requires him to answer the phone dang near all the time, then it's not really an option.
Well, it didn't until now, really. I don't think anybody was asking him to. I think his number may have gotten out, and maybe just because he wants to do a good job, he was taken. So, which is valid. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but I don't think any.
As a school board member, I would feel that that's the least we can do for the times that he's dealing with things.
I agree.
All right.
Where am I at?
Mhm.
Where am I at?
Me? Yes.
Myself, yes. Carson?
Yes.
Dayton? Andrew? Yes.
Okay, that was Eldon and Eldon.
Okay, that brings us to discussion items. Do we have any discussion items to bring up?
We had auditors here today, went well, just completing FY 21.
Yeah.
So, we need to get that done. Everybody's been busy here in the office. I'm ready for the next.
You ready for the next one? Okay, so we're at requests for future agenda items. Do we have any requests for future agenda items?
We need to make sure that list is right.
I got it. We're gonna be on that. And Mr. Strong will get it going.
I realize coaches don't really know who their volunteers are, but a lot of them already have an idea who their volunteers are gonna be. So if we have any volunteers out there, we better get those included.
Our volleyball team was out today, and with their head coach at a game or scrimmage over in Winslow.
Yes, this is.
They're hard at it pretty much already, you know, with the gyms and stuff, basketball, football, weightlifting, and volleyball.
When can the team start practice?
Officially, it's July, that last week in July, like 27th, you know, Mr. Moser offhand.
Don't know.
So,
Football and volleyball? What about cross country?
They can have yeah, it's all the same.
so actually, I guess it's a week from Monday. That's the week that we have some football campers here, is the week that they can start, so they will be practicing with it. I don't understand why it's happening like that, but, so we want to make sure our practice is on with them. We'll have to, we talked to the principal.
Will the gyms be a problem?
I'll have to check, we talked with people, so it's not, this is a surprise. We did this.
Pretty sure football, they'll plan on having a camp like they did last year.
Start scrimmaging
Like
them,
Wednesday, Thursday,
I'd say-
Friday.
pick on the big guys.
You know, we don't really need to push them to start prior to the start of school. So starting the following Monday, August 2nd or 3rd, whatever that is, for the teams, I think should be fine.
But if they want to practice, we should allow them.
We're not gonna have a gym, one. But, what is it? Yeah, talking about money here.
It might be more to look at for next year then.
We did clear it with the principals, by the way.
But I mean, next year, we might, if we're having overlap, we might want to look at that.
Yeah, we always clear those dates with the principals before we schedule football camps.
I'm sure if someone doesn't like it, they'll let it be known.
Okay, that brings us to the upcoming meeting calendar, events calendar. So it looks like August 9th, 6 o'clock is the next one.
That's the regular schedule. If we need to do one to get coaches and stuff, I'm fine with that. I don't know that we need to tentatively plan one though.
I think we're good to keep the regular one at this point.
Okay. So the next one is, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Karsten.
Yes.
Karsten did. Dayton. Yes. Andrew.
Yes.
Rhonda.
Yeah.
Myself. Yep.